Hello and welcome to Kitt Penfold Astrology. My name is Kitt and thank you for being here. I want to quickly say before I begin anything that this episode is probably going to have profanity in it. I swear. We have so much going on. This is the astrology simply of the weekend, January 16th to 18th. And there really is just no other way sometimes for me to say something. Second thing, these readings are purely general, and the best work I do is one-on-one with people during readings. So if you want to find out where this is happening for you, the new moon this weekend, this conjunction of planets in Capricorn, Jupiter in Cancer right now until the summer, when Saturn and Neptune are going to move into Aries, where is that in your chart? I do that all best privately, one-on-one. So head to my website and check out my offerings there for initial first-time clients and return clients. There's some different stuff. Onward with the weekend. The reason I mention profanity is because this cluster of planets here in Capricorn that we are seeing Friday, January 16th, this is 8 a.m. in the morning, it probably has been feeling, wherever you have Capricorn in your chart, like a little bit of a clusterfuck. Like just so many different energies happening all at the same time. There could be one situation that comes up that is more about relationship. One situation that comes up where you're like, where the heck is my speech and ability to comprehend things right now? Mercury is getting burned up on its way into the heart of the sun. Mars asking us for drive. I completely burnt out last week. Ta-da! So, with all of these things going on, are you feeling that in Capricorn at the moment? Where do you have Capricorn in your chart? I would love to know. Comment below. Right now, we are starting Friday morning off with a delicious little thing here, which is Venus at 28 degrees of Capricorn, sextiling Saturn and Neptune here in Pisces at 27 degrees and 29 degrees, and also trining Uranus retrograde in Taurus. Also, as of this morning, the moon has entered Capricorn and it is now on its way through. It is going to oppose Jupiter. It's going to come into a conjunction with Mercury, Mars, and then the sun, obviously, because that is our new moon in Capricorn, which I'm going to get to toward the end of this video. That's the big news this weekend. A sextile is of Venus. It's supportive, it's sweet. It usually kind of happens behind the scenes of things. It's not so much like a trine, which is of Jupiter, very magnetic, a very positive relationship between two planets. A sextile is like half of that, sweet, nice, find it in the background. A couple weeks later, you might look back and go, oh, that was really sweet how that happened. With Venus here sextiling Neptune and Saturn, who are on their way out of Pisces now, this last time, au revoir, they're moving into Aries. This might be a really lovely thing between Capricorn and Pisces, wherever you have that in your chart. This could feel very sweet in relationships, in values. This could feel like those things that you have been trying to put into place for the long term really get a little like a dose of cute, a little dose of yummy. On the other hand, also keep an eye on yourself today, Friday, because Venus sextiling Neptune. This is rose-colored glasses, like at the source of rose-colored glasses. Venus also can represent creativity, finances. So just watch a little bit. Try to bring in some more of that Saturnian values into things. That Saturn wants you just to make sure, like, don't overspend, don't overdo it, don't overeat things. But if you're feeling like a super spiritual vibe right now, that's also Neptune. So I would just stay aware and take all of the yumminess that you can from this moment. Venus is also trining Uranus retrograde in Taurus. Uranus has been in Taurus for 7 years. So the themes that have been going on here they're probably not new. They're not a surprise, but Uranus is still doing its thing here. These are the last couple degrees. It's going backwards. It's asking you to rethink things that have been happening in Taurus. Taurus is an earthy, fixed sign. So, where in your chart have you been noticing your need to maybe let go of the reins a bit more? Perhaps you need to turn inward a little more when it comes to all of the change that has already happened here. Uranus is the great awakener, it's bringing messages. And when it's retrograde, that can really come inside, internal. Maybe it's you integrating all of the things that have happened, because then when Uranus stations direct, these are these last few messages, pieces to put into place, everything that you kind of feel like you need to, dot the I's, cross the T's in Taurus, and all of that beautiful energy, the responsibility that you're willing to take here is going to then move into Gemini for the next 7 years. We're going to have a different video about that in the future. But right now, with Venus being in Capricorn, you know how I mentioned finances? This is something as well here where you want to make sure that this harmony, this balance of Venus does positively affect the Uranus energies in your life. Again, try not to overspend, because you may wake up in a couple of days and go, oh my God, what did I do? That could be the Uranian surprise that could be coming down the pipeline. Really and truly, I think a lot of this speaks to a major foundation that we have all been putting into place, again, depending on where you have Pisces in your chart, because that's where Saturn has been for 2 years, Neptune has been for 14 years, and in Taurus. Taurus is where Uranus has been for 7 years. We have been going through it. We don't need to just talk about 2025. There's a long span of time here where we have been putting the kind of pieces in place to create new structure, new foundation, new roots. And so as all of these planets come through this sextile with Saturn and Neptune, which inevitably is also sextiling Uranus retrograde, it's also going to be trining Uranus retrograde. This is speaking to each of those themes in Capricorn. So Venus, relationships, harmony, unity, balance, creativity, finances, money, anything that is pleasure. The sun is our vitality, our purpose, our core. Where do you have your sun in your chart? Because that is also, all of these planets really reflect on your natal planet, where it is that you have it. And then Mars is going to come through and do this sextile and this trine. And then Mercury is going to come through. Actually, I think Mercury wins by like 1 degree. It's going to hit this beforehand. But truly, if we take the 3-degree orb within that we look at something to be conjunct, technically, to be on top of one another within 3 degrees before, 3 degrees after, that we feel it moving in and we feel it then unaspecting each other, moving away. We've already been feeling all of this. Our core nature being shifted and changed and becoming clearer when it comes to our values in relationship. The lessons that we're learning about our drive, our purpose, the way that we are willing to put our nose to the grindstone and get shit done. But perhaps because Mars in Capricorn is in its exaltation, maybe you've been doing it a little healthier, a little bit better. And then Mercury, your voice, your intellect, the way that you see things, and you're able to then communicate it with others. All of this has been getting burned on the edges of the sun as it comes in behind, and then a clarity coming into place. And then these planets are popping out the other side of the sun and being able to ever so slightly put things into place, but it really takes until these planets are about 15 degrees away for that clarity to truly like take hold. And so all of that energy just here is being sextiled and trined to these planets who have been doing major jobs for us over years, putting major structure in place, major boundaries, trying to then dissolve the boundaries. Thank you, Neptune. So I know I just talked about Venus being the one sextiling and trining, but with all 3 of these planets and the sun doing this sextile and this trine, Where in your life have you noticed that you are being called to figure out the details? Figure out your why, figure out all of these seemingly like small pieces that need to be put into place, because then they slot into a foundation that you have been laying. You may even have been like completely unaware that you've been doing it, but you have been doing it. You, on an internal level, core level, have been changing and shifting and growing and going through major things to allow you to now be ready to put these final pieces in place in Capricorn. I love this energy, but my goodness, it has been doing my head in. I am an Aquarius rising, and this has been in my 12th house. My sun is also unaspecting it, and my ascendant is also unaspecting it. So it has felt like I have been almost out of control of the things that I have been doing. I've not been able to see what I have been doing. And in the 12th house, I needed to retreat like nobody's business. And my goodness, like I just cannot fathom what another couple months from now is going to feel like, seem like, and be as an experience once all these planets move forward, start separating. Not to mention, they're all about to start going over Pluto in a moment, and then they're gonna come over and hit Saturn and Neptune because they'll be over here in Aries. We got some stuff happening. So this week has really been about, where are you feeling clarity? Where have you noticed that your why, the details have been coming into place? They may not be done yet, but they are coming into place. And how have you been giving yourself time? And this weekend, how can you give yourself time to sit with the messages coming through, with the clarity coming through? It almost feels like a bit of a juxtaposition, because I think it's probably Mars and Jupiter in Cancer that has been going like, do it now, go big. And also expanding, obviously, means that we're kind of getting drained of energy quicker. So on one side of things, we don't want to sit down and take a moment, take a beat with the details, because that would take up too much time. And we got shit to do. But at the same time, your nervous system and your body, your emotions, maybe even you, know that you need to settle in for a second and go within. Journaling, 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 journaling. Such a major moment right now. I keep putting it off. And then the moment I sit down to even write a sentence, it's like, oh my God, I should have been doing this for days. So there's something really here about making sure that what we are putting into place, what we are being aware of within ourselves, is truly getting a voice right now as it goes through these kazimis with the sun. So being burned at the heart of the sun to come out the other side renewed. And then as we watch the moon coming into place to create this beautiful new moon in Capricorn. When we wake up Saturday, January 17th, this is Central Time. I have this at 8 a.m. Central Time. We wake up with a Venus freshly in Aquarius, a whole different energy. Also, pretty much exactly on top of Pluto right away at 0 degrees in Aquarius. Pluto is only at 3 degrees, so she basically lands right on top of it and starts moving in closer and closer to that exact conjunction. Venus in Aquarius, I'm not going to stay very long here, but this is an overall idea of what each of these planets are going to feel like in Aquarius. In Capricorn, we have been looking at the drive, the purpose, the productivity, and perhaps burning out or realizing things about finances, realizing things about our work ethic. As each of these planets start moving into Aquarius, I feel like, and I'm not biased just because I'm an Aquarius rising, Aquarius really is the air element. It's taking the earth element of Capricorn and moving into air. So if you then take that the next step, something that I really notice when planets go between these two different elements, earth and air, is we go from this body felt sense into mind, obviously, because it's air, but also this ability to see a clarity in our desire to be bigger, almost spiritually. I love the Capricorn energy, even though it is in my 12th house. I get scared of it a lot. Believe me, I get scared of it a lot. But Capricorn allows me to really get things done, like put my feet on the ground and move shit. And then when I come into Aquarius, all of a sudden the ideas, the entrepreneur in me, the wanting to create things that maybe could help the collective in some way really comes to mind. And with Pluto now there in Aquarius, and we've got about 18 years now of Pluto being in Aquarius, this is transforming that energy to, gosh, like an exponential amount of that Aquarian air, that clear, higher. If you know the tarot card, like Queen of Swords, oh God, I just love that. You can see her in some tarot cards sitting on top of this mountaintop, and it looks cold, and her hair is kind of blowing in the wind. I'm thinking of the Light Seers Tarot, if you happen to have that one. And I really love this card as a beautiful visual of what Aquarius can be. And so if we imagine a transformation of that, using that intellect, using that desire to create or come up with something zany and new and shift things, can you now see how I'm saying like the energy shift between Capricorn and Aquarius? So when Venus moves into Aquarius and subsequently the other planets and the sun move into Aquarius and they hit this transformation of Pluto, expect conversation, and even if it's simply conversation within self around your own kind of going to the depths with Pluto, investigating something, wanting to have intense conversation, intense deliberation around how something is working for you. Can it stay this way? Am I wanting to shift and move to this new air-minded, clear place within Venusian energies, that pleasure centers the way that you want to create, the way that you want to create finances or even magnetize finances to yourself. So just expect intensity around this time, especially then as the sun moves in this coming week, but I will talk about that in the weekly forecast. And as these other planets come through, these are intense things that are meant to bring us clarity. They're meant to bring us a new form of awareness, a new idea of what we actually desire, what we actually want to take action on, what we actually want to say, and who we actually are. I'm talking about the sun coming in. But all of that next week. First, today, Saturday, we have Venus here in Aquarius, a fresh, airy, like imagine all the windows being open in this invigorating, like cold air coming through, and all of a sudden you're awake. So that is our Saturday. The other thing is that the sun is now in this sextile and this trine with Saturn, Neptune, and Pisces, and Uranus retrograde. So this is our core, this is our vitality. This is our purpose really coming in to imbue its big, beautiful rays of light into, again, these foundational pieces that we've been putting into place. Another thing on Saturday is the moon is going to exactly oppose Jupiter retrograde in Cancer. Now, the moon is opposing its place, its home, its domicile. So the moon isn't entirely comfortable over here in Capricorn. I feel as though probably Capricorn kind of forgets the emotion sometimes, or forgets the need to pause and like take in the nervous system and how it's feeling. So the moon over here is a little tense, a little driven, a little more willing to turn a blind eye to how you're feeling, but opposing Jupiter over here, where it's in its exaltation, I feel like this energy over here could really be winning on the weekend. Jupiter opposing everything because it really is opposing the entire sign of Capricorn. If you notice that inwardly you are like spinning your wheels and that you are overthinking, this really is just a moment calling you to reflect, calling you to see what it is that you are spinning about, because there's a reason it's there. And the more that you kind of push it away, kind of what the moon in Capricorn might be doing, pushing those pieces away and not actually looking at them, you might be missing something really integral to these new pieces as everything moves forward. So I would say if you're feeling that heightened, like electric energy, take some time with it. It is all about you and how you're nurturing yourself. I bet you. Lots and lots of money, I bet you, because it's the moon, the nurturance, and Jupiter being in Cancer. This is the mother. This is the self-care, the familial feelings. Yeah, take care of yourself. Second to last thing I want to talk about, because the next thing is the new moon, January 18th. So this is Sunday at 2 a.m. So this is Central Time. I'm going to be asleep, and I'm kind of really glad for that. We have another one of our Mars conjunct Mercury moments. Now, this is also conjunct the sun. This is also with the moon coming up behind it. This is also opposing widely Jupiter retrograde. So this is one of the more I feel probably more Mars driven, the fiery versions of these conjunctions that we've been having in Scorpio, in Sagittarius. This conjunction is activating our voice, but Mercury right now is in the rays of the sun. So Mercury could be a bit depleted here. I certainly have been feeling as though I am in the middle of a Mercury retrograde right now. I cannot speak. I send the most ridiculous emails. I created an appointment a little while ago that had entirely the wrong name in it. These kinds of things, not like me, but this is what's happening when Mercury is being burned as it comes up to the sun. This is a beautiful moment because Mercury is resetting itself, getting ready for a new synodic cycle, the new retrograde cycle that'll be coming up. Mars here, though, because it's in its exaltation, it's in its chariot. So in traditional astrology, when we talk about Kazimis, when we talk about being burned at the heart of the sun, if a planet is at home or really strong in a sign, it doesn't get burned by the sun the way the other ones do. And so Mars has a lot of power here. So watch your tongue, watch your force. And make sure that maybe this force isn't also being used on yourself. When we're talking about Capricorn, when we're talking about the beginning of the year where we're ultimately like working our tails off, trying to get forward, seeing where everything else, you watch everyone with their New Year's resolutions, all that stuff. Ugh. Just make sure you're not getting caught up too much in the forgetting what it is that you need for nurturance, and more so, trying to remember this good old Jupiter over here in Cancer, asking us to go within, asking us to reassess how we care for ourselves. So on this day at the beginning of January, and probably when the day starts, and probably also with this new moon, you may be wondering why I'm talking about this new moon as though it's a full moon with like all of the culmination and the heightened everything. But when you have a new moon conjunct Mars and Mercury in Capricorn, the exalted planet fighting the exalted planet as an opposition, not truly fighting, but I mean, two exalted planets, they just want what they want. So this is still going to be quite a fiery moon. So during this time, really just watch yourself. Take a breath whenever you can, bring in some box breathing, whatever it is that you do to calm yourself, calm your nervous system. Take that 10 minutes out if you're in a conversation that seems to be going a little off the edge. And we come to finally the new moon in Capricorn. So let's bring the moon up here. Here we go. Close enough. This is happening around 2 p.m. Central Time on January 18th. This is a Sunday. Welcome to the new moon. At this point, Venus is already moved a little bit into Aquarius, getting closer to Pluto. We still have Mercury and Mars at the same degree, and only 2 degrees from the moon and the sun. This is at the very end, of course, of Capricorn here. So these last moments of the sign before it moves into a completely different energy, as I said before. And this is making all of these planets here are all sextiling Saturn and Neptune. And then they are sextiling Uranus retrograde. They are all trining Uranus retrograde. There are a lot of people over the last few weeks. I've been doing a lot of readings and just loving it so much that I have been mentioning how this new moon is, I feel, and I've heard a lot of other people say this as well. This is not new news. This is kind of the beginning of the new year, or it's one hell of a beginning of the new year. This is a moment to be setting intentions. All of the energy that we have just gone through, all of the themes, the archetypes, the feelings, the messages coming through as these planets and the sun have been moving through Capricorn for the last few weeks, it has been such a major deal for everyone because it is such a culmination, such a package of values, not just Venus, but I mean values on all fronts with Mercury, with Mars, what all of them mean, what all of them want to bring to the table for us. It's been all mashed into one sign. And for it then to come to this major moment of look how there's no other aspects to anything else going on here in the sky. This is so singularly powerful to sit with yourself and figure out what you are ready to put into action. When all of these planets move into Aquarius over the next couple days, what are you doing? And now I'm not saying go burn out. I'm also saying, what are you doing for rest? What have you learned over the last few weeks? Are you putting it into place? Are you putting it into action? There is so much energy here. And again, when I say energy, it's not just like some pithy spiritual word. I am talking about learning, knowledge, presence, awakening, aha, epiphanies. There are so many things that each one of us are getting every day, every week, every month. It's so important to listen to them. Again, why I say journaling all the time. This is a moment for intention setting. This is a moment for thinking about these last few degrees of Pisces, bringing your attention to where Saturn and Neptune are on their way out. And in just a week or so, we have Neptune moving out into Aries. And then a couple weeks after that, we have Saturn moving out on Valentine's Day, depending on where you live in the planet. In the planet, on the planet. And then Uranus will be moving very soon as well. It'll be stationing direct first, but again, we'll get to that. You want to take time, almost like taking time to have presence for what each of these planets have said for you over the last few months and especially the last few weeks. Where have you been learning how to take action differently? Where have you been learning to use your voice differently? Perhaps stand up for yourself in a new way when it comes to your needs. I'm talking about Jupiter down here in Cancer. As well, a new moon in itself is such a powerful time to make sure that you put your ideas and your thoughts out there as to what you want to create next, how you can create it next, because in 6 months' time, we're going to have the full moon in Capricorn. And that is that culmination point, that moment that we get to where we have done the work. We've had the moon go round. We've had the sun go round through all of these signs to get round to be able to then oppose the moon and have a full moon here. So what cycle are you beginning? What new year are you beginning here on January 18th? This is a major moment. So I meant to split up these YouTube videos into the week and the weekend so that I would make them shorter. And I, lo and behold, have made this 40 minutes. So, in my defense, there's a lot of astrology happening right now, and we're going to keep talking about a lot of astrology over the coming weeks. But I must say, this is a culmination point. Congratulations, new moon. You're also culminating something. So use this energy wisely. If you don't already subscribe to my channel, please like this video and subscribe. Hit the little bell button so you know when I put out a new video for the week or for the weekend or anytime I feel like doing something a little extra. There is a membership coming up soon in which you can get early access to these videos as well as when I decide to do lives and things like that. So please head over and join that as well here on YouTube. And if you want to know where this is happening in your chart, I am here for you. Head over to my website and book yourself a reading there. Thank you so much for watching and listening. You are listening to my tune Housecoat right now. So you can also head over to Spotify and listen to some of my music over there. All the links are in the description below. Good luck this weekend. Set those intentions, and I will talk to you soon. Stay here in my house coat and